I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
When people look at Bioshock, they don't see a normal game. People tend to see a game full of story, mystery, death, crime. And people don't just see a normal story, they see a man who builds a city out of nothing, and he tries to escape from the world's biggest problems such as religion, war, government issues. And those are all just stuff that us as normal people in real life tend to want to escape from. Because all those stuff just seem to be pretty much useless in our everyday lives. Now, when you look at a game like Bioshock, a game that focuses heavily on story, you tend to think to yourself, the people who created this game, they weren't really thinking or going for your average first-person shooter set in World War II. They were thinking real deep into this stuff. Now, when you look at games like this, you just think, wow, my life has really changed after playing this game, and you just want to keep coming back for some more gameplay. And that's why I think that Bioshock is one of the greatest games that I've ever played. Now, people may just question, like, why is it the best game? I mean, the game's over a decade years old. Now, here's my reasoning. Now, I will split this video up into 3 parts: the gameplay, the story, and my thoughts on the entire game. So best buckle up, because it's going to be a real long ride. Now, when people think of the story of Bioshock, people just take it as a normal first-person shooter game. But I like to think of it as on a deeper level. Now, as I said in the intro of this video, that it focuses on murder, death, and story and depth of how something so philosophical such as religion, governmental issues could all be crammed into one piece of art, also known as this wonderful piece of game, Bioshock. Now, some people may argue that there are a lot of other games that focuses on these type of real world issues. But I personally like to come to Bioshock because it's much more of a grounded game and it tells much more of a better story than other games. Now, I can hear you guys typing it down in the comments saying, oh my gosh, you're uncultured swine, you should go throw yourself off a bridge. But now, personally, I think that Bioshock is the best. Now, hear me out. Just because that it doesn't really waste your time on cutscenes and all that stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy video game cutscenes and stuff, but if it's a first-person shooter game, think about it. Do you really think that there's a need for cutscenes and stuff like that? Now, I do like cutscenes in video games, but Bioshock isn't really the place to do that stuff. So I mean, if you guys can understand where I'm coming from, you guys can probably understand why I'm saying this. But just quick little thing, if you guys haven't played the game yet, best go watch my YouTube videos, cause that would probably, I'm doing a full let's play walkthrough on that. So I'll link the video down in the description if you guys really want to go watch it, and subscribe to that channel, SA Pine Game House. Shout out to them. So as I was just saying, the story of Bioshock, as I just said, spoilers ahead, go watch the full let's play walkthrough. So spoilers ahead is that the story of Bioshock takes place in 1960, right? Now 1960s wasn't really the best time to be alive, just because there was a Cold War, racism was still a thing, and you see all those stuff, and you'd really understand why Andrew Ryan would really want to build a world or a city like Rapture, just because it's, as he said in the intro, is that it's free from mankind's distractions, such as I said, religion. And also I also said, pointed out that it also doesn't really focus that much on racism and stuff. We don't know if there's racism and stuff in Rapture, but I'm just gonna go on what I saw. So as I said, the story takes place in 1960. We watched the game unfold through Jack Ryan. That's why I said Jack Ryan. So in case you did not know, Jack Ryan is the illegitimate son or biological son of Andrew Ryan, and I'll get to that later on, just because I don't know, Jack is like what, 3 years old in this game, so that will also be explained. So in the game you play as Jack Ryan. Obviously in the game Andrew Ryan says that, do you really think that you have memories of a farm, family, a happy life? Now, so in Bioshock you kind of hear the story, these words of would you kindly, would you kindly, would you kindly, and after all you piece these pieces all together, you kind of see, oh my gosh, I was actually being mind controlled. So it's not really that much of a big shocker when you actually find out that, oh my gosh, you were actually being mind controlled by this guy named Atlas, who you trusted your whole life with, only to find out that he was backstabbing you the whole time. And that's really not really a nice thing to do, just because I know if I was Jack, I would also want to kill, Frank Fontaine myself. And also, if you guys didn't know, Frank Fontaine is Atlas. It's the same person. I know some people might get confused with that. I know why you would get confused with that. I know. Back on with the video though. So as I was saying, the story of Bioshock takes place in 1960, and what I wanted to say is that, so I know you guys have a lot of questions going through your head saying, how is he the son of Andrew Ryan? Isn't he yada 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 yada? So what I want to say is that towards the end of Bioshock, you hear that Frank Fontaine is actually Atlas, and he says that you share the same genetic code with Andrew Ryan, which could also mean that he's also the illegitimate son of Andrew Ryan. So which kind of gives you off a lot of hints. I don't know, man. It's just play the game yourself and you'd understand what I'm talking about. And that's just a lot of me saying how much I really love Bioshock. And I don't know, a lot of people have been saying I really love Bioshock. What do you guys think of the game? So as I was saying, maybe if you guys play the game Bioshock, you'd understand what I'm really saying here all about, because it's just me saying how much I love Bioshock, just because I'm a real huge fan of Bioshock. But as I said, Frank Fontaine tells you that you're the actual illegitimate son of. So what I really wanted to focus on here, because I'm sure you guys are getting real confused, is that, okay, so the reason why I say that Jack is actually 3 years old is because Tenenbaum, the person who cooked up those little sisters in the beginning of the game, as Atlas or Frank Fontaine said, is that we were using a type of plasmid, type of plasmid that increases the age or growth of a child. So that's why I say that Jack is 3 years old, or well, he could be 3 years old. So Frank Fontaine implemented memories of something that did not even happen, or stuff that Frank Fontaine claims to have happened. So that's why Jack is so dumbfounded or has no memories of Rapture or Andrew Ryan being his dad or anything about Tenenbaum or the secrets of Rapture. And it's all kind of like unraveling when you start to think that Jack is actually part of a real huge stuff of some real huge universe that he doesn't even know of, and he's just a real innocent guy trying to live his life, but unfortunately he got sucked into this wonderful, this hellish world of Rapture. And it's really not cool when you think about it, because I know a lot of you guys are thinking, oh, wouldn't it be cool if there was an underwater city? But my guys, have you seen Rapture? When all hell breaks loose, splice is everywhere, everyone's spliced up, everyone's using their genetic code and stuff, whatever God gave them, their DNA. So that's where, Rapture has like kind of a downfall, because it's not really something that you can actually use. So you guys can just, I don't know, man. So you guys should just play the game for yourself, and you should think about what you guys think of the game, because I say that the game is real fantastic in storytelling. So let's just move on to the next part of the game. Now that you guys have full grasp on the story of Rapture, now the second part I just want to move on is the gameplay. Now the gameplay of the game, I'll just give it a 5 out of 10 just because it's a fairly old game. But if you guys want me to go in depth, let's do it. Now I don't really have that much to say about the gameplay of Bioshock 1, just because it's still a fairly old game, and I understand that due to technology or technological difficulties, not everything is going to be perfect, so we're just going to make this short and sweet. Now the gameplay of Bioshock, depending on which platform you're playing it on, I was playing it on the PS4, so I was using the controller, obviously. That's how it goes. I mean, can't just use a keyboard or an Xbox controller. That's just, you'd have to be god level hacking if you're going to be able to do that. So that's just really what I wanted to say about Bioshock 1's gameplay. Just because the gameplay has aged like fine wine, so that's why I just give it like 5 out of 10. Just because it's not too hard, but it's also not too easy. I just kind of like that balanced feeling, just because I like to play most of my games on medium mode. That's why I just think that the gameplay of Bioshock is just mind-boggling. Just for a game that came out in 2007, and there's only like a few games in 2007 that really hit the spot when it comes to gameplay, such as the first Uncharted game and Assassin's Creed 1, just because I'm a huge fan of those series, and if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure those are the only games from that year I remember playing, just because those games have held a dear place in my heart. That's why I prefer. So that's gonna be it for the gameplay. Now, in conclusion, should you guys play Bioshock in 2020, even though it's a decade-old game and you should probably have the game by now? Actually, yeah, you guys should play the game. It's a pretty fantastic game, as I might say. It's kind of mixing the horror elements of any horror game, such as horror games like Dead Space and so on and so on. I also love Dead Space, just because it mixes horror elements mixed with first-person shooter, typical first-person shooter games elements. So I guess that's why it makes it easier for some people to just get immersed in the wonderful world of Rapture, play the game, and then they leave out and with a whole new mindset of the world. So that's just going to be it for my thoughts on the Bioshock. Comment down below what you guys thought of the video. If you guys like this video, drop that like video, subscribe if you're new or something, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. You've invited it in. It will never stop feeding on the body of this. Why are you guys still watching this video? The video is over, but you know what you guys can do before you click out of this video? Press that subscribe button, because I know you guys don't do that. So please subscribe. That will really help grow the channel real fast. And if you guys are already new to the channel, subscribe to SA Prime Game House. That's where I do all the full Let's Play walkthroughs. And if you guys want to find out more about Bioshock, go to that channel because I am doing full display walkthrough.